One thing that all looter shooters have in common is endgame, and whether or not it'll be enough to sustain its player base or fulfill its need to grind for loot. Will the replay loop be stimulating enough to bring players back over and over again? These are questions me and so many are asking themselves about Outriders. Others are just hype about it no matter what the state, the diehards. But this is a question very relevant to the current state of gaming, specifically this kind of gaming. Looters. This genre of game's popularity began to evolve in the early 2000s. I was a Gears of War diehard. It was a game considered a standard title at the time, with a great campaign and an online multiplayer. But when the Division franchise was announced, I converted to Massive, because that, to me, was the first of its kind. Speaking in terms of a looter shooter, an introduction to a whole new era of gaming, literally. So now these games that just have a story don't really keep my attention anymore. I've been molded into what my gaming experiences have made me. This is why I'm questioning if Outriders will be enough, being that there's no PvP. People in the comments on my other Outriders videos automatically say, no PvP, no thanks. Players need that fix. PvE does not offer enough variety, no matter how you look at it. This is just my opinion. NPCs' behaviors can always be memorized, then missions as well. You learn all the spawn points and events, then you eventually start to speed run everything. But if that's what you enjoy, then to each its own. The devs said there'll be no recycling of content, but I beg to differ. There has to be, especially since this game is not live service. I think what they mean is that after completing the campaign, and they said this, the expeditions will not contain reskinned areas from the campaign. But that doesn't mean it won't be repetitive. Once you complete all expeditions, it will soon become perpetual, lacking variety. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the environments will be randomly generated, similar to bounties and open world bosses. All I'm saying is that there's an element to PvP that PvE does not offer. It just doesn't. The unpredictable nature of players coming up with Sun Tzu caliber strategies, where no one game is the same. You'll never be able to memorize the actions of an opponent, unless of course they always use the meta. But I digress. And on the other hand, completely understand why PvP is being avoided. Same reason why it was avoided in Borderlands, except for the occasional uneventful 1vs you can have with your friends, because PvP in a looter shooter is a disaster. Case in point, the Division. There are reasons why the PvP is so bad. I mean, Red Storm, the team in charge of PvP, left a while ago, so it kept PvP in a bad state. But that's a discussion for another day. And the only reason I still play it is because personally, I'm a competitive individual. It's in my blood, so I'll have at least a little bit of patience to get through the pain of how bad it is. The reason why it's mostly avoided in looter shooters though is because it's so hard to balance PvP in that genre. There's a conglomeration of mods in Outriders, 350 weapon and gear mods that do all kinds of things. Developers want their player base to feel powerful, limitless when killing enemies. That fantasy is somewhat taken away once PvP joins the party. You get a reality check. And trust me, that fantasy is not the end-all be-all either. For example, have you ever wanted something so bad, worked your hardest to get it, then once you do, realize that you want more? Because what you achieved was not everything you expected. Well, this will inevitably happen with Outriders, and it also happens with every other game. It's the nature of the beast, and it's why I understand why people can fly are going this route. And deep down, I wish PvP was going to be a thing coming to the game. I know we are all yearning for something great after all the letdowns this past year, which is why so many are rooting for Outriders to be successful. We've got just over a week before the demo releases. Then we'll get an idea of what to expect, and I'll be live streaming it day one, so tune in. And tell me, do you think it's a mistake that PvP is not being added? Are you okay with an all PvE endgame? Let me know down below. And if you haven't seen my other Outriders videos, check them out right here. Drop a like and subscribe to my channel if you're new. I'll see you next time, fam. Be right out.